Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. Today we are going to do a little video about the Tremor, the ability of the Tremor, and basically an off-road package. Now, everybody knows there's the Ford Power Wagon, and then you have the Ford Tremor, and then you have the Chevy, the Z71 or Trail Boss, and then you have all these other little categories. And a lot of people think what they're getting is a true off-road truck. Well, first things first, the Ram Rebel HD is basically like a super downgraded version of what people think of the Power Wagon. They think, oh cool, I'll just go get a Rebel and I'll have the same capabilities as the Power Wagon. No, you will not. Same as if you think the new Trail Boss has anything to do with trails, not so much. You can look at it this way. Ford, the other day I saw a Tremor Maverick. So you kind of think of it kind of like, okay, it's just a packaging thing. Okay, so when it comes to the big three, you have the Ford Tremor, then you have the Power Wagon, and then you have Chevy's ZR2, and then you have GMC's AT4X, okay? Those are going to be the ones that are more bolstered for off-roading. The one good thing about these packages is typically you still keep your trailer towing abilities. I don't know about you guys, I tow a ton. I don't necessarily go off-roading at all. Okay, I would never take a 27 foot long mastodon width truck, and that's the same for Ram, Ford, and Chevy, out on the trails. Now, but a lot of people do go ranching. They have back road access. They have a lot of those, trails. A lot of people go hunting up the mountains, and they need something where maybe a truck this size can get up there, but you need a little bit more capability. Well, first things first, pretty much the Z71 and Trail Boss are basically fascia, good looking trucks. They're not really off-roading trucks. The ZR2 and the AT4X are the ones you want from GM if you're going to be an off-roader. Now Chevy does theirs a little bit different. You look under there and the suspension is very, very, very built up. It's very robust, and it is truly for certain circumstances of off-roading. You get under the Ford Tremor and you look at, okay, it's got the beefy rear end. It's got the vent tubes that are up in the frame. So if you guys go in deep water or mud, or even if you're a boater, you might want to think about the Tremor, so it keeps your axle vent tubes up out of water, because water's the destroyer. And a lot of people that do boating that have those vents on top of the axles traditionally have axle concerns later in the 100,000 mile range, and that's kind of bad. When you go to the Ram Rebel, actually let's go back to Ford real quick. So the FX4 package on the Ford is a good package, but it's very similar to the Trail Boss. It's very similar to the standard Z71 on Chevy, and the standard mods on the GMC. And then when you come over to the Ram Rebel, it's basically, like I said, it's a good looking pickup, but it's not the Power Wagon. So don't get those guys confused. Now, if you're a person that, like I said, you go boating, you get in deep water, which one of these might be the best one? Well, at the end of the day, I look at it like I have the capability to go off-road. I don't, but it is a nice package for that. Then you have to look at the tech and the things that go into that off-roading package that can make it a really good truck. And I think, like I said, the ZR2 is one wicked pickup, and you don't lose tow ratings with that. It's still really high for what that is. You go into, whether you get to gas or diesel, you go to the Ford, and again, really excellent tow ratings, because you can get an F-350 Tremor. And an F-250 like this is with the payload package, my tow ratings are still really good. Now, Ram on the other side, we look at the Power Wagon. So the Power Wagon's biggest awesomeness to it is it's got the locking front differential, disconnecting sway bars. And other than that, there's not a whole lot that glorifies it much more than any of these, other than you can buy a winch package for X amount of dollars. I think Ford's Tremor package, you can get a Warn kit that's like 12 G's. That's way out of my thing. I'd rather just go buy like a cheap winch, because I would probably never use it, and it'd just be their emergency situation. I'd go way cheaper than that. So at the end of the day, really, what is the best possibility of mix and match when it comes to, you want some off-road capability for and you also spend most of your time just driving this thing and also towing. Well, when it comes to the Ram Power Wagon with the Hemi can't tow that much, to be honest with you. If you go diesel, you can push 19-ish, but to be honest with you, the Chevy and the Ford already give you that with their gas. You get into their ZR2 package with a diesel, and it's way beyond that. And so that's really the kind of thing you look at. And then because the Ram Power Wagon is geared so deep for whatever you're using for rock climbing or whatever, it's not that fun to drive the rest of the time, and it's obviously not good on fuel compared to the rest of them. And so the other day, and that's why I want to talk about which one do I think is the best packaging of what it all offers. And I think it's going to be the Ford Tremor. And the reason why that is we took it out the other day. We went out in some back area where my little hometown where I'm from, and got up into some deep sand, some deep, steep grades. And then there were some like washed away little, I don't know, trenches from where the water washed away. And these things were like 2-foot drops, but the dirt between those grooves, like I said, was rock hard, or so at least you thought. And that's when you look at a lot of these things, like the Trail Boss. It has 20-inch rims, very small sidewall on the tire. It's not that deep of a tire. If you go with the custom Z71, you get a bigger chunk of rubber for the sidewall. We all know that the Tremor and the Power Wagon, you get like an 18-19-inch wheel, and you get that big sidewall, and that really helps if you're going to be beating it in there, so you're not just scratching up your rims and whatnot. But really what the Tremor does is, like I said, you get elevated vent tubes, so you can forge your water. They're way up high on the side of the box and inside of the front frame, and so that alleviates a concern for water to some extent. Somebody could prove me wrong on that. And then you come over here to everything else. So again, I'm not an off-roader. Didn't have to lock in the hubs. You can lock in the Ford hubs. That's why I call it when you lock the hubs. So when you use a Ford, it does locking hubs. And people might be thinking, well, that sucks. You got to get out to lock those to have four-wheel drive. No, you technically have four-wheel drive by just pushing the button. What the locking hubs do is I call it Panzer mode. You lock it in, and basically they're all gripping 24/7. So not necessarily a locking front axle, but it does give you a little bit more grip. But you don't have to jump out and put the hubs in. But otherwise, the Tremor does have a limited slip front end. So basically, once you lock all those in 4 low, the wheel can slip a little bit, because we all know sometimes that slip can actually give us a little bit of time for the other tire to catch up, and then it grips and it helps climb and crab. You know, and this truck was really good going up through the dirt, and it was so rough and so everything, likely so in all the trucks. It was really, really rough, so it was hard to video it. So we're just catching up to date. So what's cool about the Ford Tremor package? For me, I can't tell if the shocks are any different, but they say that they are. All right, I have those Raptor running boards, which tuck up high, so no issue with those dragging, because we did go over a pretty sharp incline real quick where the truck was longer than the incline, and I would have dragged the standard board, so that's really nice. The shocks do say Tremor on them, but whatever. The front end does have a taller spring, or a stretch spring, for basically that 2-inch level, so this truck really doesn't have that factory rake. But what it really comes down into is it really has some really cool abilities. So when you go into the rock crawl mode, the gauges look basically like this. They're like this brown. Now you can go to actually like off-road, and they'll turn a different color. I'll show you that here in just a second. But as we go over here, you can change out that compass if you don't care about that stuff. You see the 4 low indicator down there showing that it's in 4 low. It does have that. Now you can only use 4 low in rock crawl, so it won't do a whole lot. And you can obviously, if you don't want the rock crawl mode on, you can push this, and then you can lock the rear axle if you want. You can see the little lock show up there. But if we cruise over here and put it in the trail turn assist mode, that is really, really a cool feature. So if you guys can see down here, you have these 2 little round circles with these triangles. Now we all know that the truck likes to crab and everything like that when you have it in 4 low or 4 high. But when you're climbing stuff, and what trailer turn assist does is it uses the brakes. So if you're turning left, it's going to use that left rear wheel there, and it's going to basically what it will do is you can actually reduce the turning radius, so almost like making the vehicle stop that left rear wheel. And then these will light up whichever one is currently activated on there. And what that does is like I said, it reduces your turning radius. So if you're turning left and the trailer turn assist is in, it will actually brake on that inside wheel to help kind of like drag that wheel and turn the truck. Now it does have limitations. It has to be in 4 low. Obviously it needs to be going under a certain speed limit. Can't use necessarily the rear locker, but it is 4 low. And if you have your front hubs locked in, this basically becomes Panzer mode. Now you can see pitch and roll up there easily. You can see right there your turning degrees. You know, you can set the menu up a little bit. So I'm getting a little bit fonder of these gauges themselves, you know. And when we go back here, you can turn right there and see the back end of the truck. Of course, you could duplicate the compass, but if you wanted to omit the compass over there and put like other temperature gauges or whatnot, you really could. And that was really, really cool. Another cool feature is this button right here, guys, you can actually click that button, and what it will allow you to do is set your cruise control at 1 to 5 miles per hour. So if you're trying to watch everything and you just want to just kind of lug along, you can actually come over here once that's activated and actually set your cruise. And so we kind of played with that and went through the dip, and it just came right up to the berm, and it just didn't over torque it. It just literally just panzered up this thing. And I mean, it was, I don't even know, it was basically almost bumper level at the top, and the incline was probably 10 degrees, and there was enough with that lower lip on the Tremor. You get the higher air dam, so it doesn't like the snow plow, and it just climbed right over it. And that was so cool when it comes to that. And of course, you can see every angle. Right here, you can actually see the bull hooks and the bumper. So if you want to check that approach, you absolutely can. And of course, you have your other angles right here, where if you want to zoom in on where the running boards might drag, and you can do a little bit wider version of that. Obviously, you can check that angle, and you can actually put it into the 360 mode if you want to get a little bit better angle. And that's what's really cool. Now, is this package worth $4,000 or $5,000? I can't even remember how much it was. Well, that depends. If you guys are going to be off-roading, your ranchers, your cowboys, cowgirls, enthusiasts for that kind of stuff, I think, honestly, that if you're going to be going up dirt roads, Z71, FX4, Ram Rebel, fine. But if you're towing and you need all the extra ability, you're going to have to go Chevy, GM, or Ford, and they're all right there when you're coming to the gas. Because really, with the Cummins in the Power Wagon and stuff, you're still almost the same as the gassers in the Ford and the GM. And that's one thing that I really could respect, because, like I said, to have the ability there, I think is fantastic. Again, you know, there's a lot of little nuances to everything. As you can see right here, this does have the heads-up display, and I love this feature. Yes, the hood's up because it's dead again and we're charging it, but you can see right there, you can see all of your 4x4, the trailer turn assist. You can see the arrows right there. You can see your pitch and roll. You can actually see that what speed we'd have that set at if it was up there, and your tachometer. So you can basically not worry about looking down at your gauges. You can use your cameras, and you can use that. And frankly, Ram doesn't have that. And I've seen Chevy's heads-up display. It's not quite what I was hoping for. So, you know, it is what it is. Then if you come down here to your off-road, so this is just your standard off-road mode. You can use 4 low in this mode also, and 4 high. You can use your locker. You can see how the gauges are basically the same, but change a smidge, at least the colors, so you know definitively what mode you're in. So really, I think at the end of the day, I've driven Power Wagons. I think they're neat trucks for what they are, but really what you're getting is that locking front differential, which that is what it is, and that disconnecting sway bar up there, which is fine. But really, you know, again, the 6.4 Hemi just can't quite compete for tow ratings, for sure. In my book, I'm not a huge fan of it, but at the end of the day, it can't compete with what Chevy and Ford are doing. And then when I look at Chevy's ZR2, it's a cool truck. I love the colors, I love everything like that. But this truck gives you the 430. You know, in the other one, you're going to get the 373 and the 342 if you're going diesel. And this one gives you that deep down rock crawling grunt, kind of like the Power Wagon. So really the best mix is probably the Ford Tremor. And like I said, you want those big gas tow ratings or even bigger diesel ratings, you go with the 1 ton. And I think it's just really awesome. So, you know, I'm really happy with the Tremor package. It is a little high to get into. And is it a Power Wagon? No. Is it a ZR2? No. And none of those other two are the Tremor. And I think it's a really cool option because you can even get it on an XLT. And I think on the the Chevys, you got to get it on the up trim one. I think you can get an SLT or Tradesman or Bighorn or whatever they call that lower cloth level. You can get that in a Power Wagon these days. But you know, at the end of the day, guys, I really did enjoy this opportunity to put the Tremor to the test. As always, guys, appreciate you guys being here. Sound off below what you guys think, Tremor ZR2 or the Power Wagon, but don't get confused with those facade packages that look really good. that aren't really what these packages are. And then don't forget to subscribe, notification bell, so you know I'm posting new content. And as always, smash the thumbs up for me. Check out the channel for tons of other great content, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.